Just before Christmas, we talked about the new COVID relief bill that recently passed through both houses with bipartisan support. But Congress, presumably being in the festive spirit, decided to help themselves to an extra large portion of pork stuffing in their spending plans. This got widespread criticism from all political aisles who felt the frivolous spending on foreign aid juxtaposed against the measly $600 stimulus checks was an insult to the American people. Things have heated up over Christmas, with a standoff now emerging between Trump and Congress as he seeks to use his veto power as a weapon to get more money to the American people, among other things, on his Christmas wish list. This is Political, our Election 2020 series, still going strong. And I hope you all had a fantastic Christmas, and happy for you to be joining us again after our little break. And as always, if you do enjoy content, please do give us a subscribe, give us a like, comment down below. I think we'll just jump straight into this one. We got this from Newsmax.
Yeah, and I want to say Merry Christmas too, and we have a bit of a late Christmas present here from you. With Newsmax, as you say, Ian, always a pleasure to read their articles. So President Donald Trump has kept the pressure on Senate Republicans amid his campaign election challenges and a push for $2,000 stimulus checks. That would be a tough order for the party's fist hawks. Exactly as he said, Ian. He wants the taxpayers' money, taxpayers, and not to gender empowerment in Pakistan. If a Democrat presidential candidate had an election rigged and stolen, with proof of such acts at a level never seen before, the Democrat senators would consider it an act of war and fight to the death. Mitch and the Republicans do nothing, just want to let it pass, no fight. And it does certainly seem that Mitch is putting the knife into President Trump's back after 4 years of good work. But Trump didn't stop there. So what he did, he made these 6 or 7 tweets here, and basically what he's saying, he's just kind of exposing what happens when you open these bills up to, kind of picking and selecting things. So he has here, he mentions Section 230, and will not stand by and watch this travesty of a bill happen without reining in big tech. End Section 230 now before it's too late. So bad for our country. Show courage and do what's right. You could agree, you can disagree. It probably shouldn't be in a coronavirus bill. I think he's exposing the Democrats on this. But he also mentions, China, voter fraud, Russia, SCOTUS, elections in Afghanistan. But the crux of the message is here. I simply want to get our great people $2,000 rather than the measly $600 that is now in the bill. Also stop the billions of dollars in pork. So there you have it, Jan. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think, in many ways, I think Trump is kind of hedging his bet. I don't know if hedging his bet is the right term, but I think he realizes that after essentially failing to get these court cases through and win these important court cases that they've put through before the sort of electoral college met, he's now coming to the realization that, okay, yes, they have on January 6th when the electoral college goes to Congress, and I know that obviously trying to table a challenge there with that, but I think he realizes that if they're able to expose a lot of the fraud that's gone on, and if they're able to, get all that evidence together and present it in a way that it really is absolutely clear cut, it's going to be after the inauguration. And I think that Biden will end up being the president. I think Trump thinks that now. And I think what he's basically doing is he's using this last amount of time, these last few months that he has in office, to try and gain some wins for the American people. And I know, obviously, a lot of people might be opposed to the idea of spending, billions and billions on these stimulus checks. But I do think that when you have all of these states that are forcing lockdowns and forcing businesses closed, that in many ways you can make an argument to say that people have a right to this money as well to help them make ends meet after their lives have been turned upside down through no fault of their own and through no help from anyone. So I think Trump understands that, and he understands that these checks are important, and I think he wants a win for the American people, and I think he fully intends on running again in 2024, and he wants this to be in people's minds when he does so.
Yeah, definitely. You got it just on the head there, haven't you? I mean, it's all about the American people with Trump, because time and time again, so he's fought 4 years, he's gave up his billionaire lifestyle, to come and help the American people out. He delivered, as he's fond of saying, the greatest economy in history. Okay, but the coronavirus has devastated that. And I get, as a conservative, as a fiscal conservative myself, I don't really agree in taxing people just to give them their money back. But guess what? That money's already taxed. Okay, the Democrats have increased tax so much, and Trump's tax cuts could only do so much. Okay, so that money's there in the treasury. Okay, and what Trump wants to do is give it back to people so they can get spending again. When those people start spending, they go to the shops, they spend their money, so suddenly more jobs are created, the economy gets kick-started, it gets booming again. It's absolutely right that people are getting $2,000 instead of $600. Because at the moment, $600, what is it? It's the leftovers after, all these progressives have had their say, after we've empowered the women in Pakistan. I keep saying Afghanistan. After we've built boats in Sri Lanka, and afterwards it's like, oh, okay, hardworking guy from Ohio, you can have $600, you're last on the list. That's ridiculous. Trump's putting the American people first yet again, and I like to see that. I wish we had someone in the UK like that, to be honest.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think they say in football, there's not a team in the world that couldn't do with a Messi in their team, right? Or couldn't do with Ronaldo in their team. There's not a country in the world that couldn't do with a Donald Trump in government. That's the way I see it. So, I think he's not just going after, and this is interesting because he's got these in his tweets. He's not just going after, these stimulus checks. He's going after Section 230, and he's going after the other thing that he's been trying for it seems his whole 4 years now is to get the troops out of the Middle East, and that was something that obviously that was his mandate. And something that Congress has, continually stifled him on and not allowed him to do. And I think he sees this now, this bill, this big giant budget bill for the next year's worth of spending. This is the opportunity that he has now, really, potentially a last opportunity to do something about Section 230 and do something about the troops that are still in the Middle East, because they're probably not going to be going home anytime soon, are they, under a Biden administration? That doesn't seem likely anyway when you think about the rhetoric of the Biden-Obama administration and their policy and foreign policy. So I think, he probably feels like he's failed really by not getting that done in the 4 years, and obviously he really wants to get it done now. But as well with Section 230, you can imagine in 4 years' time or even 2 years' time in the midterms, if big tech are allowed to continue to go on unchecked now as they are, then in 2 years' time we could see basically 90% of the internet effectively being in control of partisans who get to selectively decide which opinions are and aren't allowed. That's definitely the pathway that we're on. Not only do we see like compelled speech, and this is why, like, obviously, I'm sure a lot of people know about Jordan Peterson, and he became popular because he rallied against this sort of compelled speech laws in Canada. And it feels as though we're being forced by law so that we have to say certain things, and now we're being forced by law that we're not allowed to say certain things and being censored. And there's certainly a pathway that we're on while all of these sort of radicals have control of these big institutions. Section 230 protects them, and in 2 years' time or 4 years' time, if they continue to go unchecked, who knows where we could be. It could be a real uphill struggle for conservative voices, or to get their voices heard.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, you use the word, like you said before, that Trump's kind of failed to get his agenda through, right? And that's true to some extent. This has been the most ambitious president in history, because what he's having to, since FDR at least, okay, because what he's having to do is he's having to pick up the slack for the last 4 or 5 or 6 presidents. So when you're talking about things like big tech, okay, big tech has emerged completely unchecked, completely protected by the failures of previous administrations, exactly as you said. Someone has to go and fight that. And look at him now. Look at Donald Trump now. 1 month left. Okay, lame duck president. He's still trying to get it done. He's still fighting for the American people. What a guy. What a guy. And it's inspiring in a way, isn't it? And okay, you know, like getting the troops home and stuff, that's fine. But the true horror of unchecked big tech has only just become apparent to people like you and me, to all of us, right? Like there were kind of rumblings before, but it took this ridiculous thing in the election. I mean, even we were censored, you know, a fairly moderately sized YouTube channel.
We had two banned accounts on Facebook and Reddit.
Utterly ridiculous. So that horror is only just becoming apparent. And look at him. You know, they think they've got him because they think there's no way he can change that. But he's got 1 month left. I want to see what happens.
Yeah, certainly. He certainly is not, you know, as many people might, just kind of laying down his tools and going, okay, you know, he's absolutely fighting till the very end, regardless of what happens, whether or not he's successful on January 6th when the electorals meet or not. He's absolutely not quitting now, and that's, you know, very much Donald Trump we've come to know and expect, so no surprise there. So anyway, I think we'll end on that note. Thank you very much for everyone that has come back to join us after their Christmas. As I said at the beginning, hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I certainly did. I'm actually still a little bit in recovery mode, actually 2 days on right now, so maybe if my voice is a little bit low tone, that might be the reason why. But yeah, anyway, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll hope to see you in the next one.